something that looks similar to this, but this is the 6th grade sheet and it has a different date, okay? Similar but not exact. Starting today, you will have a weekly worksheet every single week, okay, for the 3rd quarter, possibly the first couple weeks of 4th quarter. The purpose of the weekly worksheets is to review what we've already learned this year, okay? It's so that when it comes time to take the IAR test and you look at a problem, you're like, oh, I knew that back in September, but we haven't done it in so long, I forgot it. Okay, it's just to keep us refreshed on those old skills that we learned at the beginning of the year that we don't use on a daily basis, okay? So every other week, you will get a weekly worksheet that looks like this. What I want you to do is up at the top, because this doesn't say weekly worksheet, you'll get used to it and know that this is your weekly worksheet, but at the top, I just want you to write weekly worksheet, and then just write arrow WWS. Because when we write this in our planner each week, we will just write WWS due Friday. Okay, and you will know that the weekly worksheet of the week is due on Friday. Every weekly worksheet has the date that it's due on it, and it's highlighted. So if this one up on my Promethean board was the one in front of you, when is this one due? The 28th. When is yours due? The 7th, which is this Friday, okay? Weekly worksheets are always due on Friday. After today, I will start giving it to you the Friday before, okay? So this one I'm giving it to you today because I didn't want to give it to you before break. It's due on Friday. On Friday, you'll give me the old one. I'll give you the one that's due the following Friday. So that if you would like to get started on it early over the weekend so you don't have to worry about it, you can. If you want to work on a little bit each night to have it done by Friday, that's fine too. Okay, I do not suggest you wait until Thursday night to do it. Why? Cam? Yeah, you'll be rushed, but also you'll probably have other homework to do. Okay, so if there's a night where we don't have regular math homework, I would try and do a little bit more of the weekly worksheet, if not all of it. Okay, so this one, when you get one that looks like this, that means your weekly worksheet is an IXL skill. If you did the extra credit, it's kind of like that. If you did the extra credit, I'll collect that in a minute, okay? So this week's weekly worksheet for you guys has a skill written right there. What is the skill that you guys see? C16? So you don't see that, you see C.16. So sometime between now and Friday, you will go to IXL, you will log in, you will go to skill C16. Whether you've worked on it before or not, it's dropped down to a 0. Okay, your SMART score right now is a 0, meaning you haven't practiced it at all. By Friday, I want you to try and reach a SMART score of 75 or higher. Okay? Typically, if you get them correct, it's 10 to 15 problems. But if you get one wrong, what happens to your SMART score? It drops, okay? If you miss several in a row and you need help, what can you do? Ask for help. Ask for help in class. You'll see me, hopefully. Hopefully you all keep seeing me. Okay? Ask for help, and I can help you figure out what you're doing wrong. And again, these are over old skills, not brand new stuff. If the hints aren't helping you, ask for help. If it comes Friday, and I'm going to pick on Kinley just because she's here in front. If she worked really hard on it on Tuesday because she didn't have a whole lot of homework, but then forgot about it. On Friday, whatever's in the computer is what your score is. So let's say she works really hard today and she gets up to a SMART score of 68. Okay? She's not going to get 100% on the assignment because she didn't get to the 75. Okay? She will get a 6.8 out of 7.5. That's the grade that will go in the computer for this assignment. If she gets a 75 or higher, what do you think she's going to get? 7.5 out of 7.5. If she gets a 30 as a SMART score, what would she get? 3 out of 7.5. Does that make sense? So you might actually have some time today in class to start on this. When is it due? Friday, okay? I suggest if you don't have a Chromebook at home, on the days we have Chromebooks at school, you work on it during those days in study hall, okay? Yes?
So if like they don't have a Chromebook at home, but their kids who are in band who go during study hall.
So that's something you'll have to figure out, okay? So some weeks you'll have study hall on days where we have Chromebooks. Some weeks you won't. But also Miss Beer and I do have extra Chromebooks for the days we don't have actual Chromebooks, okay? So that would be an option for band students. Yes?
If people are in band or they don't.
Hey guys, and I'm going to say right now, because this is the first time, and usually we address this at the beginning of the year, having band is not an excuse to not do homework, okay? Yes, you don't have study hall anymore, but that's part of being in band. You're not excused from homework, yes.
If people have band but they don't have a Chromebook, they can download IXL on their iPad or phone.
Yes, it's harder to do on a phone, but yes, it works on any device that has internet. You can get to IXL. You can even just go to like Google Chrome and type it in and get there. But you must have your IXL username and login, okay? So make sure you have that by the end of the day, and if you don't, come over and see me and I will make sure you get it. Okay? It should be in your planner. Emmett.
Do you have to get a SMART score of 75 every day?
Not every day, by Friday on that one skill. Yep, you just, not every day, just by Friday you have to get your SMART score up to 75. Okay? Now, I told you you will have this every other week. So this week, your weekly worksheet looks like this. Next week, your weekly worksheet will be paper pencil. It'll be like what you guys would call morning work in the past. Those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mine aren't always categorized Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it's just a review worksheet. Usually it has 15 to 20 problems depending on the type of problems, and I'll give it to you on Friday. When will it be due?
Friday.
The next Friday, but you'll turn in a paper pencil, turn in the paper. With this one, you will turn in the paper, but also I have your scores online. Where do you think you're going to show work? On loose leaf or on that piece of paper. If that piece of paper is big enough, there's quite a bit of space at the bottom and on back, that's fine. Okay, does that all make sense? Okay, and how often will you have a weekly worksheet? Every week for the next 8 weeks, and then possibly a couple more. And really it's just to keep us refreshed with all that old information for when testing comes. Because every year in testing, and I used to not do these weekly worksheets, but every year at testing I'd have a kid raise her hand, I'm gonna pick on Livy now, and she'd be like, I used to know how to do this, but I don't remember, can you help me? And can I? No. So if I just give you a problem here and there, it usually keeps it fresh in your memory so that when it comes test time, you're like, oh, I remember how to do this, okay? Okay, push that aside. Next thing we're going to do, and we're just going to talk about it, get out your loose leaf, the piece of loose leaf that I had you get out, and I want you to title it, oh, I'm frozen. I want you to just title it Khan Review, K-H-A-N, Review. I'll write it up here as soon as there we go. So, Khan Review. What you're going to do today in class, I'll start talking until it starts letting me write. Yep, so you're writing Khan Review. What you're going to do today in class, and it'll be homework if you don't finish it, but almost everybody in my class finished, so you guys should be good, is we're going to review what we learned right before we went on break. Who even remembers what that is? Cam?
Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals.
Well, we didn't get to dividing, but you're right. Adding, subtracting, and multiplying decimals. So you don't have to write anything else on your loose leaf yet. Okay, just title it Khan Review and then put your pencil down. Reese?
Didn't we also learn rounding decimals?
Yep, rounding decimals, which goes with that. Estimating, you're right. Okay? Hey, Ethan, we're not on the Chromebooks yet. Okay, who can refresh my memory? And again, you don't have to write this down because you already have it written on a sheet. If you need to get out your rules sheet in a minute before you start working, you can. Who remembers the rule, and again, don't write this, for adding and subtracting decimals? Briley?
You just add and subtract normally, just ignore the decimal point.
Nope. Nolan?
You line up the decimal point and then solve it, but drop the decimal point down.
Yes, you line up the decimal points and then add or subtract like normal, okay? Here's one that confuses people. What happens if I have a number without a decimal point, Stella?
You add for zero.
Do,
To zero.
there is a decimal point. Where is it? Right there. And yeah, sometimes we have to add in zeros. So for this one, we would line it up 6.98 and add on 2 zeros before I can add or subtract. Okay? What about multiplying? What is my rule for multiplying decimals? Kinley? Nope, this one we do not line up the decimal point. Avery? Yeah, so this is the one where we ignore the decimal point. Okay, and then what? Cam?
However many places are behind the decimal point, count them and then put the decimal point.
Yeah, and I'm going to write count them up because we said the rule for adding and subtracting is line them up. Multiplication is count them up. So let's do a problem to show what that means. If I have 0.6 times 0.02, Cooper, what does it mean to ignore the decimal point? So if I ignore the decimal point, what math problem do you see?
6 times 2.
Okay, 6 times 2, what is 6 times 2?
12.
12. Okay, so then we put count them up. That should be an M. Count them up. What do I have to count up? Lena?
You have to count up the zeros.
The zeros?
Oh, no, the decimal.
Count up the decimal places. How can you show me that you're counting the decimal places? Who can answer that?
Underline them.
Yeah, underline them. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 decimals in my problem, so I need 3 decimals in my answer. So remember, I start at the far right side. 1, 2, 3. There's where my decimal point goes. Is that what I would type into my computer?
No.
Kanan, what else would I have to add in there?
The zeros in the front, no, whole number.
Yeah, I have to fill in empty blanks with zeros, and then I could put a whole number. So if this was online, I would type in 0.012. What can I use? How do I type in the decimal point, Briley? The period. Okay? Okay, now pull your planners out. For today, what I'm going to have you write is weekly worksheet due Friday. And write finish 3 assignments. Once I'm finished talking in just a second, you will log into Khan Academy. There should be 3 assignments waiting for you. One of them says like addition of decimal quiz. One of them says subtraction of decimal quiz. One of them says like multiply decimal quiz. None of them are quizzes. This is just to review. So I can see if there's anything I need to go a little bit further on, any more review beyond today that I need to do before we move on, okay? I want you to do your best. Once you finish one, if your score doesn't show up, click refresh at the top and then it should pop up, okay? I think there's 5 questions in each, I believe. So 15 questions total. If you get all 3 Khan assignments done in class, you can start on your IXL for your weekly worksheet. Okay? When you finish the Khan Academy, you do not have to turn in your work page to me. Just put it in your binder. Okay? Does that all make sense? Okay, you guys have the rest of the time to work. Start with Khan Academy. That's today's assignment. The weekly worksheet is due Friday.